We get asked a lot from people how to connect Windows to one of our targets over USB. So what you can do is connect the target and then boot it up. It'll get to a point where you'll see a message like this from the Windows device driver software. There's really not much you can do from this dialog, so just go ahead and once it gets to this point, just go ahead and close that out. Then what you want to do is open your device manager, and I find the easiest way to do that is just go to the search bar from the start menu and just type in device manager. When you bring device manager up, you'll see that there is this device RNDIS Ethernet gadget that it's having an issue with, and that's actually the USB device. We run TCP/IP over USB, that's why it's considered an Ethernet gadget. So if we right click on that and click Update Software, from this menu select Browse My Computer for driver software, and we're actually not going to search for software, we want to pick it from a list, so select this option at the bottom for picking from a list of device drivers. Then you'll want to select Network Driver, again because we're emulating a network over the USB interface. So select Network Adapter. It's thinking about it. Then select the manufacturer Microsoft here. So there will be a number, Microsoft Corporation, I think. There we go. Microsoft Corporation. And then you select Remote NDIS Compatible Device, and then select Next. It'll give you this warning about the driver may not work. This is fine, just select Yes. And now you're ready to go. You'll see in your device manager that it's selected that as a network device and is operating correctly. Now it's time to start setting our network settings up to connect to the target. So from the start menu, I usually just kind of type in network sharing to get to where I need to go. And the network and sharing center is where we can set up our devices. This is a very confusing interface, but generally if your RNDIS driver was the last one installed, it's going to be the last one on the right hand side on this list. So I believe that's local area connection 2 for me, so I'm going to click on it. This screen still isn't very telling, so what I want to do is click Properties on this screen, and then I can verify at this point that yes, indeed, this is the driver for the RNDIS device. So now we need to set up our IP protocols. I generally turn all this other stuff off. None of it is needed for connecting to an iVeia target. So leaving IP version 4 connected, double click on that to go into the setup. So currently it's set up for DHCP, or obtain IP address automatically. We'll want to change that to create a static IP address. Out of the box, our targets are at the IP 192.168.3.99. Obviously we don't want the same IP as our target, so generally just pick another IP address that's on that subnet. I'm just going to add one in this case, and the subnet 255.255.255.0 is correct. So we just hit OK here and hit OK again, and at this point we can close this out. We should be good in our target communications and close all of this out. One easy way to test is to open a command window, and then we can ping the target. And as you can see, we get a response, so that means our network connection is good. So if we want to shell into the target, one of the nicest free Windows programs that I've used before, this program called Putty. It's available, just search for it on the web and install. It's available for free. Let's go ahead and say yep, we'll run that. And this will actually SSH into our target. So we want to type the IP address again and go ahead and click open. You'll get this message about that the server host key is not cached yet. Just click yes, and then it'll come in come up asking for login. So the username is root and the password is also root. So right now I'm sitting at the Linux command prompt of our target. So if I did an ls, for instance, I could see all the directories, etc. We could also look at the files that are on the SD card partition. We also use a program called WinSCP. SCP is a secure copy protocol that uses SSH. This is kind of handy as well. I'll show you here. So again, put in my IP address, username is root, password is root, and log in. Again, it'll ask about the caching. This will happen just once. You just hit yes. And so now I have basically a split window screen here. On my left side is my local disk, and then on my right side is the target file system. So we can navigate the target file system just like a Windows Explorer. Pretty handy little piece of software. We can copy things back and forth as well. Again, I can go in and look at the SD card here. So if I wanted to move a file from one side to the other, I could, just simply by dragging and dropping. And there you go.